So I'm prepared today.
Oh, no highs, no hellos, just getting straight in.
No, are we going to go in?
I mean, we've been away from each other for quite some time, and we're in a new
we
studio.
should talk about that.
So, hi. Love is Blind UAE version is coming to us.
Is it? Is Love blind?
The show is almost categorically proven that no, it's
No,
not.
it's We're all together.
Hi.
Yeah, for
I'm
the
at the
first
head of
time
the
in
table.
weeks. Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
We've placed you at the head of the table.
I feel very kingly and royal.
It's quite a patriarchal setup, but we move.
It is, yeah. And I feel I'm talking directly to the camera.
We are going to be talking about how a Palestinian has managed to get into the Eurovision, a hit Netflix show which is getting a bit of an Emirati makeover.
Habibi. We'll talk about how one man may have solved the infamous Amelia Earhart mystery. And of course, Maan is here to tell you what to check out in the UAE this week in Man About Town.
Yes, this is Culture Bites coming to you from the National News. I'm Enas and Farah.
And I'm Farah Andrews.
So I'm prepared today.
Oh, no highs, no hellos, just getting straight in.
No, are we going to go in?
I mean, we've been away from each other for quite some time, and we're in a new
we
studio.
should talk about that.
So, hi.
Hi.
How are you?
How was Bhutan?
Yes, thank you so much for bringing that up. I have been in Bhutan.
Oh, really? You
Yeah.
hadn't mentioned it.
I actually haven't had it all over Instagram yet because I've been overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. So that's going to be like this weekend. I'm going to spend time being like, oh yeah, P.S. I was in Bhutan. So
You stopped over in Kathmandu.
I did.
Did you wear like pashminas and just kind of like marvel? Did you a lot of marveling? I imagine that's
A lot of marveling, not very much pashminaing.
Okay.
For one reason and one reason only. It was so cold.
Really?
I was in like everything I owned.
So it is cold in Bhutan.
Very.
Okay.
Like we're talking like -4 to 4.
I'm quite good at geography. Where is Bhutan though?
Oh, thank you so much for asking my new specialist subject. If I have to go on mastermind, my specialist subject is going to be Bhutan. It is east of Nepal, but
Oh, cold. Yeah.
sandwiched between, it has borders with China and northern India. So southern
Ooh.
western China, northeastern India.
I'm thinking good food then.
Yeah, not what I was expecting though. A lot of stews, which makes sense. It's quite an agricultural country, so they do have a lot of yak.
Yum.
I had yak carpaccio on the first day, which was actually really, really yummy. I didn't know. It's not like, oh, that's a shocker. It's not a shock. It was lovely. It was
Yeah.
carpaccio. But that's quite a fancy take, I think, on Bhutanese food. Their specialist is like chili and cheese, which,
A great combo.
yeah.
Is that like jalapeno stuff? I like those.
Kind of, if you know how like deconstructed food is so trendy, Bhutan was doing it first. So it's like a deconstructed stuffed jalapeno.
Yum. Well, I'm really excited because your article is going to talk all about Bhutan.
Yeah, there's going to be a few because I've got too many things to say.
Nice.
I made 3,000 words of notes just on my iPhone. So
Unlike me, I was all over Instagram for my Davos visit, which you were there for. So it was a long time ago.
Yeah, but Davos does feel like years ago. To be honest, Bhutan feels like years ago. I only got back on Monday though.
Ah, this
But-
week.
Yeah, this week.
Oh, well, we celebrated yesterday because it was my birthday.
It was your birthday yesterday.
I think we went overboard. I went overboard.
We didn't. We went underboard if anything.
I want a big shout out, obviously, to my family. My children woke me up with like signs. It was so cute. And then my amazing team who bought me a cake with "Happy Birthday, Boss" on, which I loved.
Are we
obviously.
shouting them out just because they're in the room?
Yeah.
With us?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks. Thank you for my cake. I much enjoyed it.
I actually didn't get a slice of that.
Why didn't you do that?
I don't know. I had quite a busy day yesterday. Didn't have enough time to come over for cake, but it looked delicious. It was lotusy, right?
It was lotusy.
How
Biscoff.
UAE?
Yeah, that is quite UAE, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah. I loved it. I loved it. My colleague who bought and chose the cake told me that it was his favourite. So
That's the right way to choose cakes.
and I think that's the right way to choose cake. I
My
was like,
sister-in-law's baby shower, I got her a Nutella cake, and I was like, why? Because Nutella is great.
Nutella
And then I
sandwich.
found out that one of her best friends has a nut allergy, and I felt incredibly guilty. But hey, sometimes,
I think
we
people
make
forget
mistakes.
that Nutella has nuts in. People
which is
just
confusing
forget.
because it is in the name. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, we do. And I kind of teased to it. And then I got really excited because I prepared notes.
Oh yeah, so I don't peek behind the curtain. This is the first time Enas has ever come with notes.
Maybe this many notes. I'm quite passionate about this subject.
I am passionate about the fact that I'm just going to sit back, relax, and get taught.
Eurovision. It's got a following. It's a cult.
I am passionate.
Hello.
Yeah, I like Eurovision.
Welcome to the club.
Welcome.
So I think a lot of people are really passionate, and I have friends of mine, and it's extraordinarily camp, and it's big, and it's out there.
It's flamboyant. It's sparkly. It's basically stayed at the level that it was at when ABBA were a Eurovision entry, and it's never changed.
It's never changed. And are we looking for good music? No.
Are we looking for Europop?
Yes. Are we looking for a weird metal act from Germany? Yes.
Oh yeah, there's always the Scandi metal.
There's always a Scandi metal.
Give us some Nordic metal and I'll be thrilled.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's got a bit of a cult following, and people get really excited about it for good reason. It's an extravaganza. That's a good word for it.
It is a good word.
So we've seen that it's Sweden will be hosting this year. And as you know, you may or may not know, there's a few countries which randomly maybe not necessarily considered in Europe. One being Israel.
And the other being Australia. This isn't a geography lesson, but I want to know what was happening in the Eurovision offices the day that they let Israel, Azerbaijan and Australia in.
We don't know. And that's what's like kind of interesting. So this year, I think with everything that's happening in Gaza, understandably, like there are some artists that are quite annoyed that Israel is going to be taking part. But Iceland is taking a bit of a stance on this. So it's kind of interesting. There is a Palestinian singer who's now going to be competing for Iceland in the Eurovision contest.
Absolutely love it.
Brilliant. Who is he, you ask?
Who is he?
Yeah, Bashar Murad. Yes, he's a 30-year-old Jerusalem-based Palestinian man who is really known for speaking up about occupation and gender equality. He's collaborated with another Icelandic act. Who are they, you ask?
Who are they? I can't even take the lines when I'm fed them.
So Hatari is a punked act. Now, I did some research on them. They are what has been described as an anti-authoritarian dystopian act.
Right. It makes perfect sense. We're here.
We're here now, right? Thank you, Iceland. So they're known for speaking up about Palestinian acts, mainly in the big 2017 Eurovision Song Contest, which was held in Israel. It was held in Israel. And Hatari made headlines for their political statement on the Israeli occupation of Palestine.
Is this when I remember, I don't want to take your punchline, I'm about to take your punchline. Do I remember a band holding up
Look at me.
Palestinian flags?
Yes. You're right. But fun thing that I had forgotten.
Oh.
Right? Oh, some eager Eurovisioners will be like, there was somebody else.
Is there a plot twist?
Also held up a Palestinian flag that contest. Madonna.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So Madonna also performed in Israel in 2017. And on the backs.
Eurovision.
At the backs, and I actually had to do some digging because I was like, really? Did this actually happen? And I found it. Yeah. So,
I mean, I don't want to regret what I'm about to say, but like the organisers getting Madonna there, well done.
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't think of Madonna when we think of Eurovision. She's American, so there's a few things that are kind of a bit out of swing.
There's a lot of questions.
However,
good for them.
She was there, and two of her dancers actually were seen side by side, one with an Israeli and one with a Palestinian flag on their backs. The gesture was apparently a call for unity, but Eurovision organisers were upset.
Oh.
And the organisers said the display of Palestinian flags inside Israel is deeply controversial. So despite warnings, in 2000, it was actually in 2019, Hatari displayed the Palestinian flag.
Okay.
Iceland was then not banned, they were fined.
Punished
for breaching the competition's regulations. Okay. Now we're going to fast forward.
I know that eye rolls aren't audible, but
you're eye rolling.
There have been.
I'm going to say it. She eye rolled. Now, I think with everything that's going on, a lot of artists are taking more of a stand, saying, no, this isn't acceptable. We want to see some action taken against the alleged war crimes in Gaza. So we have 1,400 Finnish artists have teamed up with the Icelandic musicians calling for the exclusion of Israel And
Amazing.
in Sweden, which is where it's be hosted this year, you have 1,000 Swedish musicians who've also called for Israel to be banned from Eurovision. This is interesting because we have seen countries banned.
Yeah.
Do
That's
you
what
know?
I was going to...
Pop quiz. Who?
I mean, of like Russia.
Yes.
And that was not because they had been producing subpar music. It's because they were
Ukraine.
engaged in war.
War.
Yes.
Yes. So it's kind of like, so the EBU banned Russia from the event, saying that its entry would bring the competition to disrepute. Disrepute?
Disrepute.
Yeah. So it goes into this whole thing, right? It's like, if we say you can't make political gestures and then you fine them, but then you still say we're going to take it away from a country,
and then
you are then making that political gesture.
Exactly.
So
it's wildly selective. It's the blinkered. If Eurovision is going to dabble in politics itself, surely it has to be an across-the-board situation.
100%.
Or they say, we are a music competition, not a political competition, but that isn't true because it's very... Like, Eurovision is noted for its, like, political voting, right?
Nil pois was given to us.
Many years in a row.
It was given to the UK. I'm not going to say us, because obviously I'm from everywhere. But it was given to the UK.
She's a global woman.
She's a global woman. Bhutan. No, it was given to the UK after Brexit.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of times where countries, or like there's a kind of a political message which is seen through the voting.
Yeah. And like, so year before last, and it was, I'm not saying like sympathy vote, but Ukraine won.
Yeah.
And that was kind of perceived as like a real like countries rallying around Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
And that was a nice thing, not a sympathy vote, countries backing Ukraine. And then when they won, the competition wasn't able to be held in Ukraine. So it was held in the country that came second, which unprecedentedly, do you know where that was? The UK.
Ah!
The UK came second. And so that's why the competition was held in Liverpool last year.
One time we got almost close. So what I find really interesting about this story, right, is we have 3 countries, I glanced over the list, there might be more, that are not in Europe, who compete in the Eurovision Song Contest. We have a body saying this is not political, but then ban countries on political lines.
And fining countries for political action.
Countries for political action. And then I was like digging a bit deeper and I was like, well, this is like just so interesting. Why don't we just get Palestine to compete?
Yeah.
Right? Simple answer. Give Palestine the right to compete. Oh, they have tried. So in 2007, you may ask.
Oh, sorry, I should have asked. Why haven't Palestine competed?
They launched a campaign in 2007 after 2008 because Israel entered a song called Push the Button. Now, Push the Button was actually got lots of complaints because people felt like it referred to nuclear war, which is sad. I'm hoping that it's not like, I'm hoping
it's quite, even if it isn't it is quite an antagonistic name. If you're like pushing someone's buttons, you're winding them up, you're annoying them.
There's that great Sugar Babes song though.
There's nothing antagonistic about the Sugar Babes.
So I'm just, you know what? I like to, I'm a journalist. Like,
how long
I don't
has
like to think about
Israel...
my feelings too much, she says.
Deeply in her feelings.
But the other thing is like, why not let people in a really fun way demonstrate political allegiances?
Yeah.
Like, why is that an issue? Why can't we open up?
Solidarity should be fine. I don't think that people wearing... people politicize flags and banner wearing, but they didn't, they weren't being aggressive, they weren't shouting, they weren't hurting anyone. It was a very peaceful protest. And if that should be fine. And if you're going to ban one country on certain grounds, then perhaps other countries should be banned for those same grounds rather than celebrated and having the other countries banned.
So let's see what happens. But I think it's quite interesting that Iceland has taken this stance, and then we have like Finnish and Swedish artists calling for a ban from the other side.
Yeah.
But as we head closer and closer to Eurovision, we will find out.
Yeah, there's some big news this week coming out of Netflix, coming out of Love, and coming out of the UAE.
I ran over when I saw this news pop up on our
You did.
website.
It was red less like Love is Blind UAE version is coming to us. What is its name, you might ask?
I'm asking. Well, are we going to do this the whole
No, this is
podcast?
the
We
last
need
time
to
it's gonna
stop now.
happen.
No, but what is interesting about Love is Blind is that is Love blind?
The show is almost categorically proven that no, it's
No,
not.
it's-
Across the board, Love is Blind has proven that no, Love is not blind. But okay, let's start from the beginning. Have you watched Love is Blind?
I've watched a few. Look, I watched definitely the first season.
That was like during lockdown.
Yeah, it was during
COVID.
lockdown. It got me through a lot of things. But and I've like dabbled. I've dabbled. Here, there.
I'm not a dabbler. I'm invested.
Okay, committed.
I'm in. I don't watch it very quickly. So when everyone's watching it and the whole internet's obsessed with it, I can't spend like 6 hours in a row watching Love is Blind because I do feel like, you know, when you like watch teeth decaying in Coca-Cola, I feel like that's what happens to my brain when I watch 6 hours in a row of Love is Blind. So it has to be spoon-fed.
Okay, that was quite an intense
It was
analogy.
an analogy.
Okay.
But
I'm
I love it.
Going to binge this though, because anything that like kind of brings those kind of like weird reality shows and then gives it the Middle Eastern twist.
yeah.
Or even like when you've had like things that go to India, everything that happens where it goes a little bit more
I mean,
east,
Indian Matchmaker is probably
just
my favorite thing on Netflix, genuinely.
amazing, right? So anything
Seema
that goes
Auntie, shout out. I would like her as a guest on this podcast.
but anything that goes east is just generally more interesting
Yeah.
because then you have this like generally a Western concept of a reality TV show. And then you have Eastern people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Thank you for that.
it's just more fun.
That's a good
Like, look,
explanation.
even Dubai Bling is
Oh,
like a
yeah.
reality TV show, but they're just with Eastern people. It's just everything's just more fun.
I have actually not watched the second series of Dubai Bling yet. And
What?
personal news, I'm doing a panel talk about reality TV in this country soon. So I have to watch it. I have to watch it. But I don't think we've even cleared this up. There's a UAE version of Love is Blind coming. It's going to be called, best name ever, Love is Blind Habibi. Which you thought I was joking about when I said that's the name.
I thought you were joking.
It's coming. It's real. It's going to. They haven't actually said when it's out, but it's going to be on Netflix. I'm assuming it's either been filmed or is being filmed now. It's got a Saudi actress and TV personality who I actually didn't know who. I don't know this
Ilham
woman.
Ali.
Yeah. Do you know her? Not personally.
I feel like
of the
I
name.
don't know her personally.
Okay. Well, she's hosting it with her husband.
I recognize the name.
She's
I
gonna be
need to
hosting it
watch
with
way
her
more Saudi
husband.
TV, clearly.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And do we think Love is Blind is going to work here? I think it has every chance of working as much as it has in other shows, which it hasn't worked very well.
I feel like we're going back to our roots. As a Middle Easterner, I shouldn't have ever seen my husband before I got married anyway, right?
Yeah.
Maybe in old days.
Old days.
Not obviously now.
But you understand that they don't get married the minute they come out the pods. They just get engaged.
Oh yeah, and then they decide whether they get.
And then,
whatever.
so it isn't even, so they fall in love in the pods when they have these like lovely, deep and meaningful conversations,
They
DMCs
sit on
to
the
you and
floor.
I. They sit on the floor. Sometimes they play music to each other and I cringe so hard that I like basically invert myself.
Do you like the bit where they open up the books and they have like notes on each person?
That's
that
who
they're
if
talking
I
to?
went on that show, that's who I would be. I'd have to have notes. When I was using dating apps, I basically had notes. No, I didn't.
Excel
I didn't.
spreadsheets.
Eddie's going to listen to this. There was no notes. Excel search. That's much more likely actually. If I was
Excel
going to have
spreadsheet.
anything in a Google Doc.
I'd probably just say something to the wrong person.
I'd be like, yeah. When we were talking about this the other, if you're going on 15 dates a day, it's very hard to keep up. Not that I've ever done that, but I would assume it's incredibly difficult.
Maybe. Oh, yeah,
Um,
probably. I've
And they
never
sit
done
there
that.
in their little pods and they have their deep, meaningful conversations and they fall in love and then they propose to each other and then they meet in that long corridor. And then sometimes it's like fireworks and it's beautiful and everything's really lovely. And then other times when it's incredibly clear they just don't fancy each other and they just both sit there and they look
Miserable.
repulsed. It's, awful but great television. I wanted to talk to you about a few success stories though, because there have been. So let's be optimistic.
Okay. Hit me.
Big news this week from the most recent series, the series before last.
Yeah.
So series 6 of the American one's coming out. So this would be series 4 of the American one. The couple Alexa and Brennan Lemieux, Lemo.
Lemo.
They've just announced that they're pregnant. They're having a baby. A Love is Blind baby. Might be the first one.
I don't think I liked them as a couple.
She was Israeli-American. He was like the cowboy.
Yeah.
And her stepmom was like the most beautiful woman that
Had ever been.
really caused like a storm on social media. Do you remember that?
No, okay, I don't remember this couple at all.
I quite
I'll
liked
do some
them.
research.
Then, like from the first series, there are a couple of couples that are still together. Amber and Matt and Cameron and Lauren, they're still together, going strong.
Nice.
Maybe Cameron and Lauren have had a baby. TBC. And then the couple Bliss. There was well, if you haven't watched it, there's no point. But there was one. The guy didn't actually choose her in the pods, and then Bliss and Zach. He didn't choose her in the pods, but they had the best connection. He chose someone else. Came out, no connection. Then he got in touch with her via, I assume, a Netflix producer. And they got together and I think they got married, yeah.
Oh, sweet.
So hopefully it'll be nicer here.
This has gone everywhere because it's Brazil, Japan, Sweden.
Yeah.
They've all had versions of this show.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy that it's coming here. I'm really excited
10 out of 10, I'm going to watch. 10 out of 10, add it to my list.
So there's something else that's been happened. History.
Okay, yeah. That's from romance and Netflix to kind of like archaeology and history. Not quite archaeology. Amelia Earhart. Very famous explorer, pilot, navigator.
I have a book on her that I read to my daughters.
Amazing.
Because she's like one of those inspirational figures to young women and to young girls. And she was like, told like, oh no, you can't fly a plane kind of thing.
She
long time ago. And she did. And then she did like the first solo trips. And then she was like the first woman ever to fly to America from the UK. So is it the transatlantic flight? Yeah, transatlantic flight. And she was like met with like all these people like cheering. Could you imagine? Like at that time, everyone was cheering. So she was like one of those figures. And then she got lost.
Right. So she did.
She was going around the world.
She was on her way to being the first woman, a quest to be the first woman to fly around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And she was flying her Lockheed Electra 10E plane, and it got lost in the Pacific and it was never uncovered. She was lost with her navigator, a man called Fred Noonan is what I've written, which feels wrong. So sorry if that's wrong.
Yeah, he was actually her navigator on a few flights as well.
Yeah,
I know that from my children's book.
Fred Noonan.
Yeah.
And so her plane was lost in the Pacific, but near an island called Howland Island between Hawaii and Australia, and it went down completely undiscovered. However, flash forward 87 years to now, and there is a man called Tony Romeo who has spent $11 million
Whoa!
trying to uncover her plane.
Why? Is he related to her or anything? Is he just
I think he's
interested
just
in her
very
story?
interested. Just very, very interested.
I wish I had 11 million, like just to like, find something out.
If you had 11 million, would you be trying to find Amelia Earhart's plane?
How much is the plane worth?
Interesting. But that's what I was actually thinking about. So this guy has an underwater drone and it's like state of the art. That's what they think they've used to find it. The place where they've tracked down this debris. So it's not confirmed yet if it is her plane.
Mm-hmm.
Where they found this debris. There's no other known crashes in that area, so that's why it's looking quite likely. But what I was like thinking about is when they do try and bring it up, if they're going to try and bring it up, it's been under there for 87 years, so surely it's going to be incredibly difficult to surface it. And like, is it going to disintegrate? Is it going to come up in one piece? I've read that they want to put it in the Smithsonian in Washington DC. So,
is it in the sea?
Yeah.
Like, I thought the sea there is so deep.
Yeah, that's why it's been so hard to find it, I guess.
It can't be very well intact.
I guess, like the Titanic, obviously much bigger, but it's been down there for longer and it's still pretty intact.
Interesting. Well,
how long does it take metal to disintegrate? very long time.
I don't know though. I've got a couple of cars in my life that rusted pretty quick.
Yeah, fair. Shipwrecks don't look that great fast.
I've had some cars that have been on the road for maybe 10 years, got a bit of rust.
Looking a bit tired. British weather.
Yeah, the rain really doesn't help with the old rust pockets.
So there's been speculation about what happened to her and like the mystery of her plane, and it's always been kind of quite.
Oh, for a long time.
Yeah.
And like it's funny because in the book that I think is it big
Big
stories for little people or
Yeah, it's like-
something. There's they kind of like just gently gloss over the fact that she was lost forever after her last flight. It's very much like, and then she flew over the Sahara and over jungles, and you see like there's an illustration, she's like waving at giraffes, and it's all very pretty. And then it's like, and then she was never found again. End of book.
We will not be accepting any more questions from the children. Thank you very much.
No, keep going for your dreams, whatever they may be. You might get lost forever.
Oh,
I know, it's quite morbid.
it's quite an aggressive message. But we should encourage people to go for their dreams.
Yeah, 100%. Which is why I still read that book. Dahlia, Ada, I hope you love it. And here we are with Man About Town. We're all together.
Hi.
Yeah, for
I'm
the
at the
first
head of
time
the
in
table.
weeks. Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
We've placed you at the head of the table.
I feel very kingly and royal.
It's quite a patriarchal setup, but we move.
It is, yeah. And I feel I'm talking directly to the camera.
Yeah, you only talk to the camera. Don't make any
Yeah.
interaction with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is quite strange being in this new environment, but it might change again, you know.
It
that.
might change again.
Sorry.
We're
No
just
one get too
crazy
comfortable.
kids. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. As head of multimedia, this might not last. So, but yeah, we're enjoying being in this new location.
Yeah, I like it because it's a 9-minute drive from my house.
Yeah.
How many minutes drive from your house is it?
Like 10, but because of the not 10, 15, 10, but because of the rain,
Oh,
blame it
really?
on the rain, you know.
How many minutes
everything.
drive from your house was it?
54.
Right. How the tables hath turned.
The tables have turned.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. It's kind of fun coming to Dubai.
By the way, I'm sure you guys addressed it, but happy birthday.
Thank you.
She brought it up.
Yeah. 25 and so accomplished.
I'm so
Yeah, how have you
accomplished.
achieved so much so young?
Yeah, how have you done it?
I don't know. No, it's
Yeah.
great. No, I quite like being the age I am. I'm 38. I'm proud.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, amazing.
Thanks.
mean, you know,
that's the reaction I wanted.
I just turned 40 and I felt
Oh,
it.
look, what?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you work it. Work it. That's her angle.
You just turned 40.
Yeah, and I felt it. I was telling Farah, like, and on Monday I woke up and is the word stretched, a muscle?
Wow.
Cool.
He hasn't even
From
got the
here
language for
and
it yet.
here. And I was like this all day. I couldn't even lift my arm.
You look great.
Thanks, but I don't muscularly feel it. But yeah, I mean, still, I'm like, oh, ow. But yeah, so
oh
40.
no, a lot of
Yeah.
deep heat.
Yeah.
Sorry.
a lot of
Buy
DP.
shares in deep heat.
Farah, you have so much to look forward to when you get to this ripe age.
Womp womp.
So, man, tell us what's going
What's
on
been
about town?
happening? So lots of cool stuff happened and is happening. Last weekend, I went and saw Hamilton in Abu Dhabi. I came for the weekend. And you guys have seen Hamilton, right? You've
I'm
seen
going
it.
this Saturday.
But you've seen it before.
Yeah,
Yes,
I've
we've
seen
discussed.
it in London and I've seen it on Disney Plus.
Wow,
Multiple times.
I've seen it partially on Disney Plus. We've said this.
Yes, you're not a musical
I'm not
gal.
a musical gal.
Yeah. It was, look, talent was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Arrow, who you interviewed two weeks ago,
Yeah.
he was brilliant. Like, very, like, you can't stop listening and watching him. The whole cast was brilliant. I've never seen Hamilton before. I took your advice and did a bit of research to see who the guy
Oh,
is.
you did some learning?
Yes, did some learning. So I
Do
can
you
go
think
in there.
that was helpful?
Super helpful. So I didn't know that he was like this forefather that kind of people, that he never really got the dues that were like his dues. Like people kind of just forgot about him in history.
He never became president.
Yeah, he never became president, and yeah. However, in saying that, the story is kind of sometimes, I'm not sure if it's because it's continuously sung throughout and there's lots of rapping and singing and there's no talking. It's just continuous. So it's a lot to keep up with. And sometimes the story goes into tangents that to me, I'm like, okay, where is this going to lead to? But then it leads to nowhere. But it's entertaining. But I was just like, oh, okay, this is not as cohesive as I thought it was. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but also no, because isn't like the trope of
I've
the
got a
musical is that it's,
disagreement.
I know, let's have a fight.
Yes. And I'm just sat here like
the musicals are musical.
Yeah. No, it's. I didn't have an issue with the music part of the musical, but like for example, not spoiler alert, but like
I don't think you can do your spoiler alert on like history.
yes, true, yes. So He was American.
Joan of Arc died.
Was he though? Because he came from the
Yes, because he
Caribbean.
came from that's true.
The Caribbean, if you say it in an American accent.
You almost said it.
I nearly did say the Caribbean.
So
So-
something that I found random is like he's married to this woman, and him and the sister kind of have a thing, or like they're kind of in love.
Him
So
and
he's
his sister.
His
so he's
sister-in-law.
married
Oh.
to Elizabeth or Eliza
Mhm.
Schuyler.
Yes, Skylar.
Schuyler sisters. But he definitely has more of an instant connection with Angelica, her older sister, who's kind of pitched as like the feisty,
Yes.
bold, impressive sister.
Mm.
And in the show, there's only 3 Schuyler sisters, and she's basically like, no, I can't marry him because he's poor. He's not bringing anything to the
And
table.
I'm the eldest.
I'm the eldest sister. I have to marry someone with money, so he's not for me. But that actually isn't historically accurate.
Yes, which that doesn't bother me so much. But what confused me is like when they set that up, like, oh, okay, so they're gonna have a love affair or something, but then it just nothing came out of it. It was just that kind of scene where like I could have had him, but I couldn't, and we have this thing, and I was like, oh,
And they have,
okay.
I think they like write letters and probably get
Yes.
like
I might- maybe I-
18th century flirty, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I missed it because it was 3 hours long, which is
It is long. It's not short.
long for a musical, and the intermission was like 2 minutes, so it was not long. But yeah, so brace yourself.
I'm quite excited. I think next episode we should talk about your interpretation.
Yes. Well, you're because you've seen it before.
I'm going to be a fangirl. I was talking
Yeah.
about it this morning with Eddie. I was like, get excited. I need different energy.
But it was really a great experience, and I enjoyed it. But I realized that I really do enjoy musicals that are more like talking, singing, as opposed to singing all the time.
Okay.
And I love King George. Like he was
that-
amazing.
You and I messaged about this very briefly.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You were like, I was more invested in King George's story. I actively laughed out loud.
Really?
So of course you are.
he's like he comes in like not even
Who
that
is
much.
he?
So he's the King of England. Aren't
Ah.
you from the UK? You should know who the king is.
Oh, King George. Yeah, I know
You're familiar
King
with,
George.
you're familiar. There's been quite a few King Georges. So.
Oh right, okay.
And there's
He
going to be
was-
another one.
Oh yes, eventually.
He was the king that was kind of involved in he had the war with America and their war of independence. He was that king.
Okay.
And so in the show, he's this like very camp and a bit
Yes.
bratty.
And a
And
bit
it's very
like
funny.
he has this really good song, which is like, you'll be back. You know, you have your independence, or you think being free is great, America. Well, actually, no, you'll be back. And it's like his title song. And I found out this really interesting, maybe you know it. So, oh God, what's the name of the guy who did the whole of Hamilton? Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
So he was apparently, legend goes, that he was talking to Hugh Laurie about this Hamilton thing that he's working on. And because Hugh Laurie's done a lot of Black Adler and done a lot of spoofs where he plays like kings, he's like, oh, so I have this King George character. Like, I need a good titled song. Like, I'm not sure what I should call it or what the song should be. And he was like, you'll be back. And he was like, oh, that's a great phrase.
So now that you've like said that character does give Hugh Laurie vibes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And then my friend told me this, and I was like, this is such an interesting tidbit.
Yes.
That's
Right?
a tidbit.
That was an interesting
Yeah.
tidbit. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for bringing that to this table.
Yeah, no worries. Now, not 100% factual, but it's interesting. I mean,
Don't
we're not
let
sure
the
it could
truth
be.
get in the way. No, I can't say that. I'm a journalist.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course.
Even if like, I can see
It's-
how
it's-
that could have
yeah.
been like a character that was inspired by him. I
It's
like
definitely rooted in some truth, but I mean,
Yeah.
the specific details. But yeah, interesting.
I'm getting FOMO now.
that. I have very vocally invited you to come with us on
Oh, yeah.
Saturday.
Oh, hey, you live in Abu Dhabi. You should. It should be. It's your hood.
It's like walking distance from your house.
Yeah. It's a musical. though.
Come.
Okay.
Do it, and then just if you don't
You
like,
like
leaving
hip hop.
And then
You
you
like
and me can
rap.
have a
You like
little-
R&B.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do. Good hip hop.
This is not bad hip hop.
it's not bad at all. And
There's a song called Guns and Ships that is the fastest rap that's ever been done.
it's
on
very
a
cool.
Broadway stage.
It's really amazing.
And
what
it's
he
done in a
did.
French accent.
Okay, we'll give it a go. We'll give it a go.
So
What
other cool live stuff I saw was I was in Al Quds Art Fest last week on Sunday. So
Yes.
it was really, really cool. I saw 2 really amazing shows that, you know, you guys can still follow these people online and see what they're doing. One of them is a duo called Chameleon. So one of them, the duo is Farah Shamma. So she used to live in Dubai, but now she's based in Brazil. She's a Palestinian spoken word poet, and she does she's always done these very amazing video pieces that have gone viral, where she'll either speak in Arabic or she mixes Arabic and English, and she's always often talking about like the Arab diaspora or the Arab state of mind in today's world. And she did this really amazing performance as part of Chameleon, so with an electronic DJ who's her partner, and they performed on stage all of these pieces they've been working on about Palestine and what's happening in Palestine right now. And it was really amazing. And she's the kind of performer who she's just very humble in terms of, it's not about the show. It's not about how she's dressed or her hair or whatever, or the dance moves or anything. It's just her speaking directly to the audience. And while the performance and the poetry that she's written is very well composed, she's delivering it in a very informal, very emotional, visceral way. And honestly, like, there were so many people, it was dead silent. Everybody was so absorbed in all the different pieces she was doing. She was talking about Palestine from so many different aspects. So she had this poem where she imagined if she never left Palestine, what she would want to see. So the sky, the stars, the house that her family's from. So there was that aspect. And then there was more of like a national anthem or cry about what's happening in Palestine right now. And in between, she would have these wonderful conversations with the audience and interact with them. It was really an amazing experience to hear somebody who's from Palestine and who also is a poet and an author connecting to people in that way. It was really, really beautiful.
And so you say, so people can they watch her online, or
Yes.
is there?
Yes, you can watch her online on YouTube. Just Google her name, Farah Shamma. Chamma, and there are so many videos of her performing in lots of different places. She's been very active in the protests in so many different countries. So she's amazing. So definitely check her out. Also, I saw a really interesting performance artist DJ who is called, I apologize, that's not his name. His name is Depesh Pendaya, and he had this really interesting performance piece where in the middle of Al-Sirkal Avenue, if you guys haven't been there, Al-Sirkal Avenue is made up of all of these roads or avenues, where he had this huge car, don't ask me what kind of car it is, I'm not a car guy, that he just was driving, and then he stops in the middle of one of the avenues, and it has all of these lights and sirens and like flowers and decorations. And for a second you think, is this an ambulance, or is this like a police car, or is this like a truck or something? And he blasts the speakers on, and then he starts reading his poetry while he's sitting in the car. And he's dressed in like what I can only describe as traditional Indian or South Asian outfits that are sort of modernized. So he had this veil on, you can't see him, and it's the same color as the seats of the car. So when you're looking from the front or the side, it looks like the seats of the car are moving, because you can't see him. You just see bits of him moving and talking to the speaker and performing these lyrics that he wrote about in reaction to Al-Sirkal and Al-Quds and what he's experiencing in the festival. Even though you're not picking up everything that he's saying, just the experience of seeing this car and everybody surrounding it and him talking and how he's dressed was so surreal and cool. So many people were taking videos and photos. So he's somebody you can also follow online. He's one of those people you never know what his face is like. What's that singer called?
Sia.
Yeah, it's that kind of vibe.
Like Banksy.
Like Banksy. Like, who is
Real
he?
mysterious.
Yeah, very mysterious, very elusive, very fashion.
Would you do that?
No, I would get too claustrophobic with things in front of my face.
He also wants the recognition.
Yes, I also want the fame. No, I want to be well known, not famous. Fame is
He wants to be
scary.
notorious.
Yes, notorious.
Ooh,
Notorious man.
notorious is a great word.
Isn't it? Notorious B.I.G. But yeah, it's a great word.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
So-
Are you familiar with?
Do you know this?
Are you familiar with someone said in Biggie Smalls?
Yeah, notorious. Notorious. That's
Yeah.
what you want to be known as.
No, not really. Maan is good.
Man is good.
Okay, we'll stick
Man
with
about
Man.
town.
Man about town. But yeah, I really recommend that in future, if you didn't manage to go to Al-Quds Art Fest, you must go next year. I said last week that last year when I went, Saint Levant performed, and then this
Yeah.
year he's performing in Coachella. So who knows who from the amazing
Yeah.
lineup is going to be
Yeah.
performing in other great places. So you will hear it here first if you go to Al-Quds Fest or in Coachella.
Amazing.
Yeah. What else is happening? So
Well, yeah, there's big things happening this weekend.
yes, you're coming, right? Emirates
Yes,
Lit Fest.
yes.
So it is time for the Emirates Lit Fest. It's happening. Started last night officially, and it's on until Monday. So for those of you who don't know, it is the Emirates Airline Festival of Literature that happens at the Intercontinental Hotel, where they bring amazing authors locally, regionally, internationally. They all gather together for a mixture of sessions that includes a bunch of different authors talking about one topic, or like one-on-one chats with authors. We wrote a piece last week about like the must-see sessions. And I'm going to mention a few of those. The first one is about historical fiction. So it has two really amazing authors who are Arab female authors who write in English. So Sudanese-British author Leila Abu Aila and Egyptian author Reem Bassouni. And they both have written historical fiction, and they are talking about what does it take to bring the past to life through books, and how much research do you do? How much do you stop research and then actually write the story? And historical fiction is a very popular genre.
It is.
It is a very popular genre. So that's happening on February the 4th from 12 to 1 p.m. And then another really cool session, which is one that I really love, which is all about fantasy. So what's so cool is they have 3 of the biggest fantasy authors, in my opinion, from the last couple of years. You have Shannon, I hope I'm pronouncing her surname right, Chakraborty, and she's written a whole bunch of fantasy trilogies that are really, really popular. You also have Sue Lin Tan, and I read both of her fantasy novels last year. They were one of my favorite. Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which is fantasy based on Chinese mythology. So we usually hear, fantasy like based on European mythology. So this is really interesting. And we also have one of the most popular fantasy authors, Rebecca Yarros. Have you guys heard of her?
No, I actually haven't.
So she's huge on TikTok. Her book called The Fourth Wing was everywhere. It's kind of like Game of Dragons.
That's basically what it is.
What is it? Game of Thrones. But a bit more like 50 Shades of Grey vibe. So it's like spicy fantasy, which is a huge genre right now.
Spicy.
Yeah. I think it's called witchy romance. I think that's the name of the...
I've heard...
Yes.
Yeah.
So...
I've heard of this genre.
Yeah. So her book, Fourth Wing, and the second one is out now. It's huge. It's already been bought. The TV rights have been bought by Amazon, and she's an executive producer.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
Yeah, so it's a big deal.
Dream.
Yeah.
Big dreams.
So those 3 authors are on stage together discussing what does it mean to create fantasy? What is fantasy? How do you world build? Why is fantasy so prevalent and important? Why is it such a huge, big genre?
Can I want to interject.
Please.
Yes.
Like on my, obviously I'm on this like journey of discovering the UAE. I've just decided, it's gathering, isn't it? Gathering is a huge part of the culture here. Like all these like festivals, this literature thing,
yes.
just gathering people in one location. And we saw it even with like the global summit for like social media stars or like fintech, or we have
That's
like
a really
all these
interesting
other things.
observation, because I would never have thought that since I've been here for a while.
Yeah.
But that's
It's
really
just like, I just
interesting.
think that like,
But
this
we
is
have
what they
like
do.
very concentrated, because we have like big cities in quite a small country, and with like a lot of like industry and interests. And so it's like where in other countries it'd be a lot more spread out, but we have like such like amazing things happening in very concentrated space. So that's why we get this kind of like abundance of gatherings.
And that's
maybe.
interesting that you say that, because I think about Al-Quds when I was the Al-Quds Art Fest. Like there were so many people that I just don't see around, like people with like lots of tattoos or like piercings, or they're like dressed very, very like edgy. And I'm like, what do you do for a job? Like, are you an accountant? Like, where do you come from? What's going on? Like, I never see some of those people at where I go. So, and then with the Lit Fest as well, you see a sort of a different group of people, and it reminds you again how, diverse
so
Dubai and the
diverse.
UAE is.
It's so diverse. And I think it's also becoming, I think it's attracting more and more people from diverse backgrounds. And I think that's really interesting to witness at the moment. I think a lot of people, like I was talking to one of my colleagues, she might be in the room, but just about like, lots of Arabs from lots of different parts of the Middle East try and come here, and they all come with such different cultures, like all the books that you're mentioning from different authors from different parts of the world. So it's like they're coming together, they're gathering here. I feel it's like a really important part of the culture.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a really nice note.
Little observation.
Yeah.
Carry on though. Sorry, I interrupted. Is someone's being recognized in this?
Yeah, so there's an honorary kind of event happening at the Lit Fest for Mahmoud Darwish, the great Palestinian author and poet. So many of his works are part of Palestinian narrative and discussion about Palestinian identity. So a couple of poets and performers are going to be going up on stage and sort of paying homage to him and his legacy, which is really cool.
That's really beautiful.
Do you have details of when?
Yes, so that is happening on February the 3rd. It's from 8 to 9, so it's at night, so it's a bit more intimate.
Saturday night.
Nice.
Yes. And Ammar Ashkar, who is a singer based in the UAE, he did a performance yesterday at the gala opening. His voice is amazing. Like, I was shook. That's what the kids say.
They do.
They do. So he was amazing. And so he's going to be one of the performers there. So I'm really looking forward to hearing him do performance. And yeah, That's it.
It's a busy weekend.
It's a busy, busy weekend.
It always is.
It
With Man About
is.
Time.
Yeah.
Thank you
Right.
so much, man.
No worries.
Thank you. And
Anytime.
thank you guys for listening to us. That's it. That's all we have time for today.
And if you like this episode, please follow and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app. And don't forget to tell all your friends and family about it. Bye.
Bye.